So now that we know that this main Dart file gets parsed from top to bottom and in the end gets compiled to code that is understood by the target platforms, I want to take a closer look at what exactly we see in this file. And this lecture is primarily meant for students who have no or almost no prior programming experience. If you did work with other programming languages, you can skip this lecture here because we're not going to dive into Dart or Flutter specific features just yet. Instead, I want to generally explain what we see in this file. So what do we see here? We see a bunch of words, a bunch of lines of words. Not really sentences, just combinations of words. And that in the end is what programming is all about. It is about combining different words to create statements, instructions that then tell the computer or a mobile device in the end what to do, what to show on the screen, what to do when a button is clicked, and so on. Now, of course, here we just got some code for a very basic app, which you saw before already. It doesn't do anything useful, but it does, of course, show something on the screen. It, for example, shows a main title and some text in the center of the screen. And this code here is responsible for that. Again, we're not going to dive into what exactly which line of code does here. We're not going to dive into the Dart or Flutter specifics, but instead I want to take a more general look at that code. And what you can see here is that we have that combination of words, and what's important to understand about these combinations of words, which then create these instructions, is that you have two main categories of words, you could say. The first category are so-called keywords, words that are built into a language that do or trigger very specific things in that language. For example, import would be a keyword built into Dart, which in the end connects this file to another file, but that's not too important. But the other category of words that you have are identifiers, words that you as a developer define yourselves. For example, my app here. We could have also named this meine App, which is the same in German. I would have to change this in some other parts of this code thereafter, but we could use this instead of my app. This does not have to be called my app here. On the other hand, import does have to be called import because import is built into the language, my app is not. Now, throughout this course, you will of course learn all these important keywords, and you should definitely not learn them by heart. You should not go to the official documentation and try to memorize all these keywords. That's not how you learn a programming language. Instead, programming is all about solving problems, and in this course you will learn how to solve different problems and build different things, and along the way you will learn and see and automatically memorize which keywords are needed where to do different things. But it is important to be aware of these two main categories, and one of the main reasons for using a code editor like Visual Studio Code is that it helps you with detecting different kinds of words. For example, like all major code editors, Visual Studio Code has a built-in feature called syntax highlighting, which assigns different colors to different words. For example, extends and class and import are blue because they are keywords. Now, it does not just use blue for that. For example, return, which is pink, is also a keyword. And the reason for that simply is that different keywords can only be used in different places. And that's why we also have different colors here. For the moment, it's just important to recognize that different colors are being used for different kinds of words. Not one color per category, but definitely different color for different words and meanings. For example, yellow or this green light bluish color here would be used for identifiers. Again, just as with the keywords themselves, it's not important to learn which color is used for which word. That also wouldn't make any sense because you can use different themes in Visual Studio Code and that would then change the coloring of words. But it's simply important to understand that we have this syntax highlighting feature, which exists simply to make code more readable and easier to read for you as a developer. If everything would be white, it would be harder to quickly understand the meaning of code. In addition, code editors also help you catch typos. If I forget the A here, you see that the color changes, and that immediately shows me that something seems to be wrong. And of course, I also get some red squiggly lines to quickly show me that something is wrong with this line of code here. So that's another reason for using code editors. They help us catch certain kinds of errors whilst we're writing the code, instead of having to wait until we try to run it and then see that it fails. But if we go back to the code, that's in the end what code is about combining different words, keywords, and identifiers to create instructions that then do something. Now, of course, you don't know yet how these words can be combined. You don't know yet which instructions can be written, but that's of course exactly what you're going to learn throughout this course as you learn about Flutter and Dart.